Hey, I want to talk to you guys about tribal cultures in Africa, tribal cultures in South America, and I'm sure there's some in certain parts of Asia. One of the things is that I noticed is that we put down tribal cultures. Just to be honest with you, we don't respect them. They're not quote unquote civilized. They're not modernized. They're not sophisticated. I mean, that contributed to part of the racism toward blacks. Although I mean, blacks did have civilization, black civilizations. Their tribal culture did contribute to racism. And the thing is, you know, tribal culture is no worse or better than modern culture. That's just a fact. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. We as Westerners think that because we produce and we're productive and we got all these things to do that we have accomplished more, we feel better about ourselves. We don't realize that these are just standards within Western culture. I mean, there's nothing wrong with tribal cultures. I mean, not all tribal culture is good, but intrinsically, there's nothing wrong with the simple culture of hunting, the simple culture of just eating, the simple culture of just forming families. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing intrinsically inferior to it, about it, not to it, about it. Um, you know, many tribal cultures are much more peaceful than modern cultures. I mean, let's give you an example. We nuked in modern culture, in modern warfare, we killed far more people. If you just taken the fact that we nuked the country and you nuked, I'm trying to enunciate, but it's very hard for me, nuked. Nuclear weapon. We dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima. It says it all. It says it all. Is that any more savage than what tribal cultures do? No. Oh, they have weird religions. Well, Christianity can be called a tribal religion. I mean, believing in the resurrection, believing that you can be an exorcist. How is that any more tribal than what what they're practicing in Africa? Nah. I mean, we have to look. Don't get me wrong. Sure, if certain parts of Africa want to modernize, or South America, more areas of South America want to modernize, that's fine. But guess what, guys? Some of those cultures don't give a shit about modern culture. Really. And they really don't want you modernizing or fucking up their environment. Well, that sounds so liberal. This doesn't mean about liberal. This has nothing to do with liberal. This has to do with somebody saying that, okay, you want to be modern, that's fine, but we don't want to be part of that culture. It's the same thing for some subcultures in America. Some subcultures in America don't want to be modernized. So let's respect that. Seems like we're not, because we want to modernize every fucking culture, every indigenous culture that exists. That's probably why Aborigines have a problem. You know, people are like, well, they can't advance. They don't have a civilization. Maybe they don't want to be part of modern culture. Maybe they're happy being a simple culture. And I think most of them are. If they want to modernize, they'll take their asses out of the tribe and come into modern Australia. But many of them don't want to be modernized. You know, I just have one more point. So that brings me to my last point. I think that, you know, Afrocentrism or Afro-centered history has some good points, but one of the bad points is that, you know, it doesn't appreciate tribal culture. That's why we have radical Afrocentrists saying, "Oh, really? You guys, we built civilization, we had advancement, and you guys were the savages. You guys were freaking. You Europeans were the savages. You were the guys who were cannibals. You were the guys who were having spears." So that doesn't make you better than them. I mean, clearly, African Americans, and even simply West Indians, we've been brainwashed into thinking that tribal culture is horrible. Because why would we flip the script now? Now because European allegedly was just tribal, and we built all these civilizations. Now we're better than them. I mean, just be honest. We didn't really like the image of tribal cultures in the first place. I'm talking about black people. Doesn't mean that we made up civilizations, because we had civilizations, but part of the reason why the extreme Afrocentrism came out is because we wanted to prove that we can build an advanced culture like the Europeans. Well, we did. It was not the same, but even if we did not, it still does not justify enslavement. So regardless, and many of the Europeans did not see that advancement, but it still does not justify enslavement. That's all I really have to say. But tribal cultures just simply don't get any respect. Have a nice day.